Hey, Nate here, and I am very excited. I am here with my buddy, Sean Harvey. I was over here at his house about 11 months ago, and we both definitely would have not fit on this love seat at that time. We
Not
both,
without punishing the love seat.
yes. But yes, this is the first of my series of close interviews. I don't want to be sitting too far away from who I'm talking to, so I'm going to get right up and close with Sean. Sean, why don't you tell us just briefly about, if it can be done briefly, your last year, the end of January, where you were at, where you're at now, and what the last year's been a little bit like.
Yeah. So you want me to talk about like what led to starting up at the end of
Yeah,
that?
let's do that.
So briefly, it will be hard to do, but I will do my best. So probably the last prior to January last year, a lot of different things that happened. About 3-4 years ago, a good friend of mine passed away, died of cancer, and he was super athletic, very healthy, young guy, newly married, young son, and he died. And for obviously, I'm very sad. I'm not trying to make light of that, but for some reason, his death really struck me pretty hard in multiple levels, and one of them was that I was 500 and some pounds, and here's my buddy who was healthy, and he got taken super young by something that he lacked control of, and here am I like dealing with all this excess weight and unhealth and all this kind of stuff, and I was tripling, quadrupling, quintupling all the different ways in which I could increase the odds in which I was going to die young, and it sort of made me think I needed to do something. It sort of like shook me into action for doing stuff. So I had done every diet that I could think of multiple times. I've struggled with weight for most of my life. And the one thing I hadn't really ever done was really approach it from a different perspective. So I looked at the emotional, spiritual issues behind why I was eating. And in that process, sort of discovered lots of different things about myself, about why I was eating. And through some very sort of miraculous events, I got to a place where I was really open to looking at all the things that I could do differently, and all the things that I could do potentially to change my life. Some of those things, I began using essential oils a lot, and they began to change me really at a deep level. Like they were doing some things like helping to deal with illness, helping to deal with I got burned. But they began to do other things internally too to work on help work through emotions and things of that nature. And they also surrounded me with a community of people who cared about me in a way that I didn't realize I was worthy of being cared about, if that makes sense. Like I knew my wife loved me. Yeah. I didn't know why she loved me sometimes, if I'm totally honest. I mean, I think we all struggle with that in general, like especially as dudes. But it was just sort of a combination of a lot of things over 3 years. And then I have a good friend of mine, Rayma, who introduced me to oils and who introduced me to this community of folks, and really became a sister to me, and who was willing to speak hard truths to me, and just sort of built into me over the course of a few years. And she came to me like first part of January. I had this like, all right, I need to get something started. You got to do something.
Yeah.
She said, let's do keto. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, it could have been a martial art. Like, like I don't even.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, let's do it. And about 5 days later, we started. So that was January. I thought it was the 28th, but I looked at the calendar. It's January 26th of last year was when we kicked things off. So
so tomorrow's a year. Tomorrow's 365 days.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy. So lots changed. I have turned my wardrobe over about 4 times in a year. So that's, people want to know, like, is keto expensive? Is intermittent fasting expensive? Is all that stuff? The expensive stuff is buying new clothes every 3 months, for sure. But yeah, what else?
Yeah, so it took 364 days. You had mentioned you were, just over 500 pounds when you started, just not in a good place. And so the last year, where are you at now?
So I dropped about 180 and change of excess weight, baggage.
which is awesome. 180 pounds. I know you've been on a plateau the last couple of weeks, so it's
a little
tough at the moment. But think about that.
I mean,
180 pounds.
If you had told me a year ago that I'd be 180 pounds lighter in a year, I would have thought you were crazy. Two, I would have thought I had to do something insanely drastic, surgery or something like that.
Crazy amount of exercise, or like running marathons or something like that, and
things that frankly seemed, I mean, as impossible as the task seemed to me at the time. If you told me that I was going to get to here, I would have thought you were going to ask me to do things that I physically was not able to do, mentally not able to do. But I think that's been sort of what's been so incredible is I think not only has it changed my life from a physical standpoint, but along the way, I learned so many more things about how the body functions and then also what the body's capable of. When you give it the things that it needs and take out some of the things that frankly make it run extremely poorly. And I'm a different person. Legitimately, people have mentioned I look like half the man, and I'm like, not yet. I'm close.
Not yet. We're working on that.
I'm close.
Once we get past this plateau, we're going to get to the half man. But that is so amazing. And I started about 5 months ago. Very similar plan. I've lost 45 pounds now, and just to think that it is possible. And something I've been thinking about with the exercise stuff is that we put so much pressure on somebody when they're at their biggest that they just need to start exercising. And that is one of the worst things you can do on your body, because our bodies can barely handle the weight anyway. So to be able to do that. So that's something. So let's get back. Keto has become very popular, especially over the last year, cutting out carbs, cutting out sugars. You have an Instagram account, Start, Persevere, Hope. Where you post a lot of the food that you cook that looks amazing, and using our alternative stuff, the different flours, some different, not artificial sweeteners, different sweeteners instead of sugar. And so I know we've talked about it before, but now that you're a year in, a lot of people have a hard time making it past January with a New Year's resolution. But you committed to 1 year. You knew you had to do something. You started seeing really real results. What do you think, as far as the diet-wise? Because I get a lot of people that are telling me, "Oh, you don't understand. I have to have my carbs. I have to have my carbs." And they go, "You don't understand. I did not get to 290 pounds myself by not eating carbs. I ate all the carbs all the time." But, being a year in and looking back with as, well as you've done keeping to the keto diet, as well as the intermittent fasting, both what have been the toughest and the easiest things? Maybe something that surprised you, maybe start with that. Something that surprised you where you're like, "Oh wait, I ate a ton of that, and that was not the problem. I was able to give that up."
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the hard part, really, with anything, I mean, it's not just keto. It's anytime you're making any change, right? That first step feels so scary. It feels so it's insurmountable. Like I have this mountain to climb, and I looked at my weight and whatnot legitimately as a mountain I needed to climb, and getting at the bottom, at the base of the mountain, looking up, you just can't picture yourself doing it. So, and there's sort of, I think, a misconception that but I certainly did, and I know a lot of people I've talked to have, where it feels like you have to do it in one step. Like you have to make that jump real fast. You have to go from 0 to 60. Like you mentioned, the working out thing, like you got to go from being completely sedentary to a person that kills yourself in the gym or to get in shape, right? And so all that just seems unrealistic and scary. So I think the hardest part was saying, I'm just going to do this. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know where my life will go. I don't know if this will work. I have no idea. But I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to take that first step. So I'd say that initial piece was super hard. Early on, I think I got lucky, I feel like, because and it's not luck. I have a personality type that's very much an all or nothing, which definitely has its drawbacks in a lot of things. Actually, part of reasons why I got to where I was over 500 pounds. But when I finally decided to take that first step, committing was not. I'm sort of fanatical about it.
Yeah.
So that part wasn't all that hard. The hard part was when I started to have success, keeping it going. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a tendency in the past where like you get a little bit of success and then it's easy to sort of, I got this.
Yeah.
Like I can do it.
I don't have to stick to it. This will keep happening if I don't.
It's fine if I have this one thing. And I think the question I got all the time was like, well, do you have cheat days? You ever had cheat days?
Yeah.
And my response is like, man, I cheated myself for like 39 years.
Yeah. So, I'm over quota on the cheat days. Yeah.
And I think like for me, it was just, it was time for me to do something different. Clearly what I was doing before wasn't working. So this idea that I was going to do this for a little while and go back to my old ways just didn't make sense. And I think the things that surprised me, one was probably how easy it was to make food that tasted great.
Yeah.
And then I think surprising things is what food actually tasted like. So the standard American diet involves a lot of processed sugars and a lot of processed carbs, and we become addicted to that, and we need that in order for our food to taste good. So we need if you have strawberries, they don't taste as good if you don't put some sugar up in there. Or blueberries were my least favorite of all the berries because they just were super tart and whatever. And I watched how like that changed. Blueberries now one of my favorite things to eat. Just phenomenal. It's great for your brain. I think it's one of the best brain foods out there, loaded with antioxidants. You should check out Max Lucavere's book. Oh my gosh, of course I went in. I think it's Genius Foods. I got it. Shout out to Max. It's phenomenal. Blueberries is one of the brain foods, genius foods out there. And then like vegetables, I think like vegetables, all of a sudden broccoli tasted better to me. Cauliflower still doesn't taste like anything, but you can put a lot of good vegetables and stuff in it and make it taste it. But
cook it with enough bacon fat,
a little bacon fat. But it's one of those ones that it's kind of like a potato. You can do it in a bunch of different ways. I think that was the most surprising piece was how much food could taste great if you had it in a way that it was more natural. Yeah. Right.
Well, that's what I always say with hamburgers. Hamburgers are so much better without the bun. Now that I don't eat a bun, the bun was just killing my hamburgers. Yeah. You're missing so much flavor because you're just chewing into this. Like, and most buns are not that great either. Right. They're just a bunch of processed carbs. Yeah, and rich flours and corn, who knows what's. Every once in a while there is good bread out there, but for the most part, it's like there's so much more flavor. Yeah. But our bodies and our diets have gotten so adjusted to just so much sugar and so much of the, and we don't even get sugar most of the time. It's all the corn products that we're getting all the time. So yeah, that's definitely one that I've really found is amazing. Is just making these changes and how you quickly our bodies adapt to these healthier foods and how much happier they get so much quickly.
I think that's a good point actually too, because I think it works in reverse. Our bodies are designed to adapt to survive. And so when you're filling it with a bunch of garbage, which is what I was doing for most of my life, your body sort of adapts to this new normal of how it feels, how it functions, all that kind of stuff. And it's taking all these toxins and it's storing them in your fat cells, and it's your body just kind of gets used to it, and then you forget, or maybe you never knew what your body was supposed to feel like. So like when you get into this place where you're actually fueling your body correctly, fueling your body with good whole foods, natural foods, organic, all that kind of stuff, like it's almost euphoric. How good your body feels and how much energy you have. And now I don't ever want to know, but I can't even imagine what it would be like now to, I don't know, go through something with high sugar content in my system or whatever. So
no, that's
crazy.
So you're at a year. What's your plan for the next year?
Keep on going. I think I'm still 322 pounds, and as healthy and as amazing as I feel, and as good as I feel feel like I even look, especially in comparison, all that kind of stuff, still not at a healthy weight.
Yeah.
Like it's still too much for my bones and my joints to carry. It's too much for my organs to carry. So I have more work to do.
Yeah.
I'll be doing that, and keto will be a big part of that. Intermittent fasting is the other piece. I think. That for me, I think this maybe another surprise to add was how much intermittent fasting actually impacted not just the weight loss, but my relationship with food.
Yeah. Well, you just briefly, for people that might not know intermittent fasting, people have probably heard of fasting, but this intermittent part of it.
Well, I mean, I think even fasting in itself has some pretty severe misconceptions around it, because we solved the food scarcity issue in our country, clearly. And so we've gotten used to this idea that we need to eat every few hours, or we need to eat 3 meals and then snack in between. And we're just constantly consuming. And if we're not consuming, then we must be starving. And I think sugar and carbs and all that kind of stuff plays into that because of the addictive nature, right? Like, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist or anything yet, though I do spend some time reading, and I plan to dig more in the second year into the science behind all this stuff. But they say that sugar has similar addictive qualities as cocaine, and I think ice cream or something I read. Don't quote me on this, but like I read that it actually registered higher in the pleasure center than cocaine. So highly addictive. So it's sort of this like continuous cycle that you think you need to eat, and then because your body's addicted to this thing that's you need to constantly keep feeding it. And intermittent fasting for me was, before I knew anything about the science of it, before I knew anything about the sort of health benefits of it, for me, what it taught me was that I didn't need food all the time. Like this idea of being hangry, or this idea of like, I gotta wake up and eat, or I'm not gonna be able to make it. Like our bodies, we would go weeks without meals, right? Before they solve food scarcity. It's amazing how our bodies can handle it. I'm not telling anyone to go out and start like eating them, like not eating. All that kind of stuff. I mean, that for me, like I read about it. I heard that it could shrink your stomach a little bit. I heard that it can help increase the amount of weight loss that you have in a short amount of time. So I was like, well, that'll help me climb that mountain faster. So let's do that. But what it did for me too was change food from something I felt like I needed all the time into something that was more a fuel as opposed to a pleasurable thing. Not that I don't enjoy eating, because I do. But
that whole relationship with it is
it no longer controlled me. Like I felt like I learned that I was sort of a slave to food, and in lots of different areas. Like we sit down for to watch a game. What do we have to do? We have to have chips.
Chips and beer.
What do we got to do? We got to have popcorn. God, I miss popcorn. But
yes, I know that's one of the big ones.
I'll take this healthier body instead of popcorn. But we're just conditioned to eat all the time, and intermittent fasting helped change that for me, which was remarkable for me anyway.
No, I have not done the intermittent fasting, and I know you've done different variations. It's basically condensing when you eat into, say, from, I know for a while you're doing like 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. or something, and then 7 p.m. until 1 p.m. you're just not eating anything. And for myself, I haven't done anything where I was on a strict schedule, but just eating better and eating more high-fat stuff, my body's so much more satiated that I realized I didn't, like if I have some coffee with heavy whipping cream in the morning, I probably don't need lunch. Like I maybe need a couple cashews or something just for something. But as far as, it's just completely changing that whole mindset of, 5 years ago, everything said you've got to be eating small meals every 15 minutes or, every 2 hours, you have to be eating a small meal. And it's, when you think back to before we fixed food scarcity, hopefully you got 1 meal a day. And so it's realizing that that's not how our bodies work. Our bodies adjust. Our bodies have fat stores. Some of us more than others. And being able to help our bodies process that stuff and work off that stuff is just so awesome.
But I think, what's interesting I do think that I think so. I think there is a tendency for people to find what works for them and assume that that's the thing that everybody should do. And this, I think, the 6 meals a day thing was definitely one of those things where like we all sort of adopted it. I do think there are folks that burn. I mean, burn the calories, and maybe that. So I don't know enough to say that that's not what someone should do. But I think it was this sort of mob mentality of, well, this works for me, so everybody should do it. Has been, has led some people to do some things that weren't best for their body. And I think the cool thing about keto for me is it really helped specifically for me, and I think for you too, and for a lot of folks, because we look at a carbohydrate and our body starts preparing to gain weight, and whatnot. That may not be the case for everyone, but I do think with intermittent fasting, I think that's something that anyone can adopt. Because beyond weight loss, even if you have to lose weight, there's like health benefits you should look up. You check it out on Google, look up Dr. Fung, look up Thomas DeLauer. I mean, there's a ton of folks you can find information on there that, as far as how it works with your body. And I started out just simply by skipping my morning meal. And it worked to where
But breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Which was said by a guy named Dr. Kellogg.
Yes.
And then I wonder what
it's amazing how that works.
I started with that, and then I just kept like shrinking the window of time in which I ate. And now I do full, like I've done what they call OMOD, one meal. I've done a 2-day fast, a 3-day fast, and I'm going to do a 5-dayer coming up here pretty soon. And some people think it's crazy, but and maybe it is, I don't know. But I know that when I do it, I feel amazing, and it just does a lot of wonderful things. I'll study some more this year so that I can eloquently tell you. Because if I tried right now, I'd throw a lot of things at you that you'd be like, I don't really get what you're saying.
A lot of feel science.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel that this is the fact right here.
I heard a term once, and I think it was this. And
yes.
You should, that's really important, I guess.
Well, that is one of the great things. There are a lot of scientists that are doing the research to show how this stuff works and really trying to back it. And I know there's a lot of different stuff out there. And I mean, I think it's great, but better than the science, people can look at you, they can look at me and go, oh my goodness, you saw real results.
Right.
And, somebody might be saying, well, I'm way too heavy, there's nothing I can do. And it's like, there's something you can sure try. Yep. And both of us saw real results right away. Because I know if that first month I lost 21 pounds. If I wouldn't have lost a bunch of weight, I would have said, this isn't worth it. Yeah. And I've tried every diet. I know you've tried a ton of different things.
Yep.
I've done rice cakes for a month. I've done all that stuff. I've tried the whole exercise thing. But it's like, to be able to just make changes in our diet. And I was one of the biggest people, corn syrup, who cares? This.
It's from corn.
Yeah, it's from corn. Carbs. I'll just eat them all. But then just to make that change and see something, you can't help but keep going with it. And I think that's one of the big things for me is like, I couldn't imagine, now that I know what I know, ever changing that again. And
I think that's...
And it's not the hardest thing in the world, too. It's not, you're not slaving for 8 hours in the kitchen. You wake up, you cook some bacon and some eggs. You're good. There's easy ways to do it. And there's so much great recipes out there. Eat Happy by Anna Vocino's a whole cookbook that is focused on this way of eating.
Yeah.
And it's so cool to have these resources that we have where you're not just walking blind, trying to make up the science as we go, which we could. That'll be our next video, an hour of fake science from Nate and Sean. Yes, we'll get lab jackets. I guess just in wrapping up, what do you think are some of the misconceptions?
Yeah.
Just in your experience.
Yeah, I think most of the negative stuff that you hear about keto in general are that everyone's eating sticks of butter, animal fat all the time.
Only Kerrygold butter.
And fried food. And I think that's the misconception, right? That's the stuff that I think was attractive to folks.
Yeah.
Like, you tell me I can eat bacon and lose weight. Like, whoa. Okay,
we can eat fat again.
I'm in. But I think what's cool, is that it really does encompass a very whole food approach. Like, yes, you do have bacon if you want it. Yes, you do have eggs if you want it. Yes, you can cook things in animal fat if you want to, and whatnot. But you can also have a very, very colorful plate full of vegetables, full of fruits that are low on the glycemic scale, like berries, like blueberries and raspberries, blackberries and strawberries. If there's other berries I don't know about, let me know, because I do miss apples, but for now they're not part of my truth.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
But I think when I think about keto, I think about all the whole foods, all the rich, vibrant, colorful things that I get to eat. And yeah, there are some certain things that I miss, and who knows, where all of this will go. But I think for me, cutting out the sugar and cutting out, the processed grains and stuff, I can't find anybody who can tell me there's a reason why I should eat bread.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's probably the biggest that I see from keto.
Yeah. No, that's
Keto complainers.
Keto complainers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, wrapping up, anything else you want people to know? Anything else that you think? 364 days, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing weight loss, amazing overall life transformation. It's great.
It was like, because I hadn't seen you. I've seen you online, but I hadn't seen you in, I guess, maybe, has it been 11 months?
It might have been. That might have been the last time we saw each other.
Yeah,
that was way too long.
Much bigger then.
Yes. But
you're a wisp of yourself.
A wisp of myself.
Very svelte these days.
No, it feels good.
It does.
And maybe one of these days I'll start exercising too. But
that's a good thing to touch on, the exercise piece, because I do hear that too, with people saying, "Oh, now people don't exercise."
Yeah.
I think what's interesting about the exercise stuff is that, like you mentioned earlier, when you're super heavy and like you're supposed to go in and exercise and work hard, and the amount of force and torque that it puts on your joints is just not good.
Yeah.
I think what keto does is it helps you get to that place where exercise not only becomes easier on your body, but it almost becomes a bit of a necessity. I don't know about for you, but I felt like I had to do something. I had to move in some way. It may not be traditionally working out in the gym or on a treadmill. For me at this point, just because it seemed like every time I tried that, I was back in the physical therapy office.
Yes.
I think the energy level I have to go do things. I have to move.
Yeah.
And so this idea of no exercise is true in the sense that you can get started without having to do that, but it's inevitable that you're going to move.
You want to do
I'm no longer a guy that wants to sit on the couch.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So I want to move, and I want to do things. Eventually, I'll step foot in the gym again.
Yeah,
probably. Yeah. For now, I'm doing other things to work out and exercise. Bar, guys, if you've never done bar, check it out.
Got to try it. Yeah. But the energy level just completely changed, and wanting to get down on the ground, just play with my daughter, or just go for a walk, or just. Yeah, you have to get up and move. Where before it was anything I could do to stay in one spot and not move.
Or just quote the law of inertia repeatedly.
Yes.
Things at rest want to stay at rest, guys.
Yes. There we go. There is some science. There is some science. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much, Sean. I'm so glad we got to do this. We were not going to wait another 11 months. And as you learn that science, we'll get together. We'll do some videos. We'll do some more stuff together because we love this. And, it's working for us. And I know that a lot of people have been inspired by you. I've had a couple people tell me that they've wanted to try things out. And so any way that we can get in front of more people or just answer people's questions and help them out, we both have a heart to do that, to be able to make real change in lives. So
absolutely.
Well,
appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Please push that subscribe button and that like button. And also, please follow my Padre on Instagram. Look for start.persevere.hope.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Scarlett.
Well done.
PDX Fast Foodie, out.
And also, speaking of inertia, something that wants to keep on moving, something that moves wants to keep on moving. So when you back up in a car with the door open and then instantly stop, that door closes.
And that's where we're at now. We're not in motion. We are in motion. We're going to keep in motion, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you. That was perfect.
Oh, Scarly, you're the best.
Thank you.